Hola, muy buenos días, bienvenidos a esta nueva emisión de Diálogo. En esta edición de nuestra serie de entrevistas titulada Hablan los embajadores, tenemos el gran honor de invitar a nuestro programa a la señora Patty Chen, embajadora de la República de Suriname en China. Madam Ambassador, thank you very much for accepting our interview. We know that in October 2018, you came to Beijing to work as a Suriname ambassador in China. So, to start this interview today, could you please tell us what's your impression of China then after more than 2 years living and working in this country?
Thank you very much, Mr. Cha, and thank you also for your staff to be here today. I have experienced China as a vibrant, tolerant, clean, beautiful, impressive, and compliance-based country, earmarked by its resilient people who pay a lot of efforts to create a happy and healthy society. And my working and living here in Beijing is in many aspects very positive. And I deem it a privilege to be here in Beijing as ambassador.
So we know that in China and Suriname formally established the diplomatic relationship in 1976. For more than 40 years, the bilateral relations between our two countries has flourished and matures constantly. So in November 2019, China and Suriname established a strategic partnership of cooperation. In your opinion, what characterizes the relationship between China and Suriname?
The relationship between Suriname and China characterized by its cordial ties and mutual beneficial cooperation. And China is one of our main partners in development. And Suriname cherishes its bilateral cooperation, bilateral relation with the People's Republic of China. And as one of the main partners in development, China is helping us a lot in our development, given tangible results through the bilateral cooperation. And our mutually beneficial cooperation is enshrined in bilateral agreements on cooperation in areas such as capacity building, education, infrastructure, construction, agriculture, also security.
Okay, and after more than 40 years, Suriname has become one of the most important cooperative partners of China in Caribbean countries, in Caribbean regions. So, in the cooperation between China and Caribbean countries, what role is playing Suriname?
Suriname is playing a very important role in the cooperation between China and the Caribbean countries by maintaining partnership and friendship with the People's Republic of China. And we are also working strongly on our friendship with regional and multilateral arena, guided by common interest and value. And the One China policy has been and still is a long-standing and very important principle in our foreign policy. And by that way, we are also contributing to strengthening of cooperation and ties between China and the Caribbean region.
Let's take a look at the economic and trade cooperation between China and Suriname. At present, in which areas is this kind of cooperation mainly concentrated?
Okay, we currently have some projects. For example, we call it Safe City, and that is the traffic and security monitoring system. We have the Dalian road rehabilitation and road construction project. We have the Wanika Hospital, and that is already finalized. We have infrastructure construction, and we have cooperation in the area of tackling the COVID-19. We also have project housing, and that's a sort, namely to few.
Despite the geographical distance between China and Suriname, the friendship between the two peoples has lasted more than 160 years. So nowadays, the Chinese people and the Chinese culture are still playing an important role in Suriname. For example, Suriname is the first country in the Western Hemisphere to designate the Spring Festival as the public holiday. So, Madam Ambassador, how do people in Suriname celebrate the Spring Festival?
Given the Spring Festival is a national holiday, it is celebrated by the whole country. So not only the Chinese community is celebrating the Spring Festival, but the whole country. And of course, with the Chinese community at its core. And we have cultural performances and fairs during that time. And fairs will be attended by many people from different ethnicities, from different cultures. And we have cultural groups from China dispatched to Suriname to give special cultural performances in Suriname. For example, acrobatic, song, art, and last time we had the changing mask, you know, and Suriname's people, they love the Chinese culture.
So the Suriname people are familiar for the Chinese culture?
Yes, we have it every year, and it's very popular. And at night we also have fireworks, and very popular in Suriname. And not only the Chinese community is celebrating the Spring Festival, as I told you, also cultural groups of other ethnicities, they will help us to fill in our program for cultural performances, and they are working on fusion and creative art. So, for example, we have the dragon dance, and then maybe a dragon dance on a piece of on a piece with Chinese music and on a piece with Suriname music. That's a fusion of a cultural performance.
Yes, and in your opinion, what's the reason why the Chinese culture has maintained its vitality and uniqueness in Suriname for more than a century?
The Chinese community, or the Chinese people, they came together very early, and they established organizations, the Chinese organizations, aimed at furthering the Chinese culture and interests within the Surinamese population. And our first Chinese organization is Kongi Tongsang, and it dates back 1888. Yes, and in a very early stage in Suriname, we all have learned to embrace each other's history, culture, and traditions to mutually internalize positive influences for spiritual and social well-being.
Yes, and to this day, Suriname has become one of the countries with the largest overseas Chinese population in Caribbean regions. So you are also Chinese descent. What role do you think people of Chinese origin is playing in Suriname?
So Chinese people play a very important role in both economic and social development. Because the Chinese people are very active in economic life through established businesses, for example, restaurants, supermarkets, warehouses, wholesale and retail. And through these stores, we have more access to necessary products with competitive prices and enough to choose from. And government officials, we have many of them from Chinese descent, as I mentioned before. When you see colored people with a Chinese name, so it's very normal, you know. And just like other officials from other ethnicities, we have from Chinese descent. And Chinese culture has many positive aspects. Those aspects have been internalized by the Surinamese population, such as ways to foster personal financial stability, personal health, happiness, and peaceful coexistence.
I see that you take a book here.
Oh yes. I take a book here. I want to show you some insights of Chinese life in Suriname. This is this is the first Chinese association, and it was built in 1888. And so you can see that the Chinese culture is very well preserved. We have the dragon dance, we have Chinese dance. Yes, and sometimes we will have Chinese teachers from China going to Suriname, especially to teach dance. Yes. And in this book, you can see a lot of the Chinese traditions back. The weddings, also, when Chinese people get married, they just do it like the way China does. So it's the same. So culture, the Chinese culture is very well preserved in Suriname. And Suriname is a multicultural country. And not only Chinese culture is well preserved, also the other cultures are well preserved. So when you once go to Suriname, you will feel like home.
I think this part helped the Chinese people and the Suriname people to understand each other. We know that some Dutch football players have the origin of Suriname. For example, there was a Dutch football player in 1990s, Ruud Gullit, who was very well known in the world, and his father was from Suriname. In China, there are many fans of football. They know more about Suriname because of Ruud Gullit. So I think this can be a way that the Chinese know about Suriname. In recent years, we know that the people-to-people and culture exchanges between China and Suriname become more and more frequent. So what are the most attractive parts of the cultural and the people-to-people exchanges between China and Suriname?
As I mentioned before, we have Spring Festival in Suriname, right? And the cultural and the people-to-people exchanges draw a lot of attention, and not only from Suriname but also from China. And Surinamese people, they love Chinese culture. And we have a Confucius Institute in Suriname, so many of them are taking classes at the Confucius Institute. And through the people-to-people exchanges, both of our people were able to spend time in each one's country and learn to value the history, the culture, and the art, etc.
We know that more than 90% of the land area of Suriname is covered by forest, which provides fascinating tourism resource for your country. So what would you recommend to tourists about the scenery and food of Suriname?
Okay, the scenery of Suriname is very nice and beautiful, given the abundant rainforest, pristine nature, and freshwater resources. And the creeks in the interior, for example, offer a healthy herbal source of dark cola water due to the fallen leaves of surrounding trees. So if you look at the water, it looks like Coca-Cola, the color, but it's very healthy because of the herbals all in it. And we have a beautiful and rich flora and fauna. In the interior, we have a reservoir, nature reservoir, and there we have dozens of unique animals, and it's a unique part of Suriname. It's the Brownsberry Nature Reserve. It is 560 meters peak at its heart, and it was founded in 1969, made up of 112 square kilometers of pristine jungle, populated by dozens of rare species of animals, many of which are unique to Suriname. It's a stunning slice of nature covered in thick jungle and bordering the vast Brokobondo Reservoir. Head here for wild tropical adventure, some super bird watching, and endless wildlife viewing opportunities. So if you go into the interior, you will find rest and see the beauty of the nature. Yes, really beautiful. And regarding the food of Suriname, because we are multi-ethnic, the food is also a fusion of delicious cuisine. And Chinese food is also popular. It's very popular in Suriname. And we have also Chinese food with a Surinamese twist in it. And it's a cross-cutting, valuable aspect of Surinamese life. Every year we have many tourists from in our neighboring countries, especially coming to Suriname, especially for the nature and for the food.
So it's a really good destination of tourism for Chinese.
Yes, especially for the Chinese, they will find all foods there. They will feel like home. We have Cantonese food, we have you know, the northern part of China. They have other sort foods. We have that, we have hot pot.
At present, the COVID-19 pandemic has become a really big challenge for all over the world. We know that China has always been an active participant in international cooperation in the prevention and control of the pandemic. So how would you evaluate China's anti-epidemic achievements?
China's anti-epidemic achievements are remarkable, given the swift response and the measures put in place by the Chinese government. Timely lockdown and subsequent stay-at-home measures, as well as compliance, overall compliance and adherence to these measures by the general public was not easy, but it was necessary, and it has proved to be effective over time. And these measures has also prevented the increase of numbers of deaths. What else? Okay, there is very much appreciation for moral expressions, and also from material support from abroad. And at that time, Suriname also contributed to China. And in a later stage, China also provided a material and moral support to other countries. But in our common strive to fight against the pandemic, it has brought us closer to each other.
And the spread of the COVID-19 has also brought new challenges for the global economic recovery. We know, according to the predictions made by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, China will be the only economy of G20 to achieve positive growth. So what do you think is the significance of China's economic recovery for Suriname and for Caribbean countries?
So the significance of China lies in the willingness of China to adhere to the One Belt, One Road initiative, underpinned by a multilateral trade system with a shared future for humankind. And in this sense, the economic recovery and positive growth might produce a positive multiplier effect for Suriname and other Caribbean countries. Okay, you should also bear in mind the economic success is not for nothing. It's forgone by principles, sacrifices, hard work, and perseverance. So the stronger countries may help the smaller economies to uplift themselves.
Yeah, of course. And I think economic recovery in China may be significant for the economic recovery of the other place of the world.
So that's why I say the stronger countries, they may help the smaller economies to uplift it, you know?
Yeah. Okay, in November 2020, the third China International Import Expo was successfully held in Shanghai. So for you and for Suriname, what kind of platform is the CIIE?
For Suriname, CIIE is a platform for trade and commercial cooperation. Also for the trade cooperation, commercial exchanges, and a source to promote, for promotion of one's industries and products. And CIIE, the platform of CIIE has proven to be valuable. Our businesses, for example, they have established partnership with other businesses through the CIIE. Okay, we have participated in the first. I was just here in China when I go to the first CIIE, and we have products showcasing at the CIIE in the hope that we will establish partnership with other companies, and we have done that. And precisely the second CIIE also, we have participated in 2 platforms very successfully. But this year we were not able to attend the CIIE, the third CIIE, because we were late with our preparations, since it was a year of elections for us. But next year we will surely be part of it.
2020 is also a year of decisive victory for China for the elimination of poverty. Then how do you evaluate China's efforts and achievements in the eradication of the poverty?
So we have noted these achievements of China, and China is the first country who reached the goal number 1 of the UN Sustainable Development, and that is end poverty in all its forms everywhere. China is making a great contribution to the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and these positive efforts are also recognized by our President, His Excellency Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, who congratulated President Xi Jinping last October with these remarkable achievements. Yes, and you can reason that China is establishing a blueprint for a model and thinking upon poverty eradication, and sharing knowledge and best practices of China can be an integral part in the cooperation between Suriname and China. And the need for an international enabling environment is of paramount importance in our efforts to reach the goal of poverty eradication. And through their cooperation, China and the Caribbean countries can contribute to the shaping of this international enabling environment.
Have you ever visited some place and see with your eyes some examples of the eradication of poverty in China?
Poverty eradication, yes, I have. In October, when our president sent a message to President Xi Jinping, I was attending the international seminar on poverty eradication in Fujian. And there I have seen with my own eyes what China have done to lift people out of poverty, and how they allocate the impoverished population from one place to another place. Yes, I've seen that. And also in Sichuan, in Xitang, we went to villages also to see what they have done there in their villages and how they get out of the poverty.
What do you feel?
Impressive, very impressive, and it's not easy. It's not easy, and I can commend the Chinese government with all these positive efforts, because it's a political will and a commitment to the people that you're going to do that, and you do it.
Of course. In October 2020, China formulated a document about the 14th Five-Year Plan for National Economic and Social Development. So from your perspective, what's the most impressive part of this plan?
China is speeding up to foster a new development pattern where domestic markets and foreign markets can boost each other with the domestic market at the mainstay.
Yeah.
That's very impressive. And also the economic development and the development for the environment. Domestic markets in China will become stronger. The economic structure will further be improved, and innovative capacity will significantly strengthened, and the livelihood of the people will be further improved also, and also the social security, the social stability will also be maintained. And China is also willing to continue reducing emission of major pollutants to have a better natural environment.
So do you think there are some new opportunities for your country, for Suriname and for Caribbean countries in the 14th five-year plan?
Yes, of course. Look, the 14th five-year plan of China is actually a beginning of a new journey of China. And they are fully building a modern socialist country where people is where the approach is people first and people centered. And the cooperation with our countries can be in different ways, especially in economic development and also in environment.
Yes, and according to the 14th five-year plan, China will build a new higher-level open economic system and raise the level of opening up. So how do you interpret this target of China?
So as I have said before, it is a new journey of China to build a modern socialist country, and with a people-centered approaching. So China is taking concrete steps for a community with shared future for humankind, and all of the countries can benefit therefore.
And China has been committed to work with Latin American and the Caribbean countries to build a community with a shared future for mankind. How do you interpret the concept of community with a shared future? And for you, how should our two countries strive to build this community of shared future?
Our countries should see to it and complement each other's work in economic recovery and economic resilience. And it's not about tearing down each other, but support each other. And it's not for a competition. So we have to help each other, and it's more like to live and let live. And I expect that countries with a sound economy and a sound credibility, they will be able to remain the mutual beneficial trade relation with each other. And trade is the basis to earn revenue for economic and social well-being. And smart thinking and working with one's comparative, working with each other comparative advantages should be element for success of all countries for a shared future.
Madam Ambassador, thank you very much for accepting our interview.
Thank you very much for coming. It was a very fruitful one. Thank you.